This morning we're going to be focused on lighting our inner fire. So really, really focusing actually on our solar plexus chakra, which is located just above your navel. So quite often it's associated with your abs, I guess. You're switching on your core muscles, but also is said to be, I guess, our kind of driving force, our purpose, our motivation. And we're going to get started in a seated position. On your inhale, just rolling those shoulders back. Exhale, allow them to release down your back. Inhale to grow a little bit taller. Exhale to feel the heaviness start to soften down to the floor below. Starting to deepen and lengthen your breath now. I would like you to bring your attention to that solar plexus area. So perhaps bringing your hands to your navel. Starting to sense, starting to breathe into that space. Perhaps connecting into that area, just noticing how you're feeling in the navel area. Sometimes actually we can feel quite tight in this area without realizing. So see if you can relax and release, but using your belly to really expand that inhale and exhale. So using it to really deepen and lengthen your breath. When you're ready, gently blinking, the eyes open, coming back into the room. I'm going to start with some gentle neck circles, so bringing your chin towards your chest, just using your nose to draw perhaps a little smiley face. Going from one side to the other, getting into any nicks and crannies this morning. Pausing in the middle and gently coming up. And perhaps bringing the hands to the shoulders, doing a couple of shoulder rolls. We're just going to start warming up our body. We've been working quite a bit with planking this morning. So we're starting to perfect your planking technique, really engaging those core muscles. We're going backwards a couple more times. And then we'll release and change direction to bring the elbows forward. Perhaps seeing if you can bring them closer in together, really expanding them wide out and then close together. Really starting to lubricating our shoulder joint. Obviously, we'll be pressing quite a bit into our hands. We want to make sure that everything's nice and warmed up. And release, perhaps shaking them off. And then bring your hands, you can either clasp them together or place one palm on top of each other to bring the hands out in front of you, perhaps bringing your chin towards your chest, allowing the shoulder blades to broaden and settle down your back, feeling a stretch and openness through the back of your body. Breathing here, releasing, see if you can stretch any further, bring those shoulder blades perhaps a little further apart. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring the arms up and around outside, clasping the fingers behind us. So either, again, you can put the hands on top of each other. If you want to interlace the fingers, that can feel slightly nicer, a bit more of a stretch as you bring them up and out, bringing those shoulder blades together, feeling a broadening and opening across the front of your chest. Breathing into that space, really pressing the fingertips away, perhaps keeping the eyes closed if you like. Want to take a little wriggle if you like. And then when you're ready, we're going to come onto all fours to find a couple of cat-cows. So knees underneath the hips, wrists are underneath the shoulders. We're going to press into the arms, coming into our angry cat pose as we exhale, bringing the belly towards the spine. Tailbone is tucked under. And then you're going to dip the tailbone, bring the belly towards the spine, and bring perhaps the neck through as the shoulder blades come together in our cow pose as we inhale. Working now with your own time, your own breath, exhaling to cat. And when you're ready, inhaling through to cow pose, tilting that tailbone and bringing that belly towards the floor. So focusing on what's happening with your abdominals today, perhaps bringing that attention back to that solar plexus area. As your belly shifts and moves with the body, the spinal roll happens. Keeping that awareness and the focus on that area. Allowing the belly really to come in towards your spine as you're exhaling in your cat pose. And allowing the breath to really fill that belly as it comes towards the floor in your cow pose. The next time you come to a flat back position, just staying there, noticing any shifts in your body. And I'd like you to engage those abdominals once more, so sucking that tummy in a little bit, bringing that awareness back to that solar plexus area. You're going to bring the left foot back, coming onto the toes, keeping the hips square to the floor, just checking that the fingertips are nice and spread, perhaps rocking backwards and forwards, warming up the back of that leg. And then when you're ready, when your weight is shifted further forwards, the wrists are over the shoulders, you're going to lift that leg up so it's about hip height, certainly not higher, trying to keep the hips nice and square to the floor, holding it for a couple of breaths. Really engaging those abdominals. Option to bring your right arm out to the front now, if you like. And if you're finding that top arm is a challenge, perhaps exhaling it down. We're going to come into a couple of crunches now. So option to do this with just the leg, or you can bring the arm in as well. As you exhale, you're going to bring your left knee into your chest and then inhale to bring it up and back. So an option to bring that arm in, exhale, bring the elbow towards the knee, inhale to bring it back through. So choosing whatever option feels good to you, either working with just the leg or bringing that arm in at the same time. Make this one our last. Exhale to release. Just perhaps sinking back on your knees for a moment, taking a couple of wrist rolls. Going one way and the other. Beautiful. When you're ready, we're going to find that all-fours position on the opposite side. Getting ourselves nice and set up, the wrists underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. Slight engagement with those abdominals once more as we tuck in. And then raising the right toes behind us, straightening out that leg. Starting to perhaps rock gently back and forth, or you're welcome to keep it as a static hold as you work just to stretch into the back of the leg, the calves, the ankle. Beautiful. And bringing your weight so that your shoulders are over the wrist. Going to ground into the left knee and both hands as you raise that right foot up so it's parallel with the leg. That's checking that your hips are roughly square to the floor. Holding it for a couple of breaths. Option to bring the left arm out in front. Perhaps focusing in on that abdominal area once more. And perhaps lowering that left arm if you want to come into the different version. We're going to do the same thing as we did on the opposite side. So bringing the right knee into the chest as you exhale, and then inhale to come back. Options, bring that arm in, inhale to bring the elbow to the knee, exhale out. So working with your version of the pose this morning. Bringing that breath and movement together. And really engaging those abdominals, keeping, this is a kind of crunch movement. So we're really getting everything going. Lighting our inner fire inside us. Do this twice more. Making this one your last. Exhale to release everything. Coming back to your child's pose. You choose whether it's wide-legged or whether you have your hands beside you or out in front. On your next inhale, gently roll yourself up. I'd like you to roll yourself forward. So starting with the very top, bottom of your thigh, and you're going to roll yourself super slowly down. So keeping the elbows sucked in. It's almost the slowest roll ever as you bring your elbows in towards your ribs, coming down towards the mat, and then gently coming up to find a little baby cobra before you push yourself up and back to your child's pose once more. Just almost imagine that your body is sticking to the ground. So we've got a really sticky mat, perhaps. Then imagine that every time you're rolling towards it, the mat's almost sucking you down a little bit further, but super slowly. Bringing those elbows in, ensuring that they stay sucked into your ribcage at the same time. Work through this rolling cobra a couple more times. Really just enjoying this movement. It's a really nice one. We're feeling like we're getting the whole body moving now. It feels quite meditative, perhaps, if you work with your breath. And then we'll make this one our last. So doing it one more time wherever you're at. All meeting in child's pose once more. Staying here for just a couple of breaths. Allowing yourself perhaps to exhale out with your mouth, just to release anything. Inhale to roll yourself up. So starting from that all fours position, particularly thinking about perhaps those wrists and fingers, really spreading them nice and wide. You can have them shoulder distance apart or slightly wider if that's a little bit more comfortable, but I'd recommend shoulder distance for the moment. Feet can be hip distance apart as you come back to find your plank pose. And thinking abs, am I switching my abs on? Bum, is my bum clenched? And finally thighs, are they clenched? Pressing those hands away and trying to breathe rather than holding your breath. So hold for another couple. Option to bring the knees down at any point as you try and focus on the same clenching. So abs, bum, quads, the tops of the thighs. And through that rolling cobra once more, so bringing the hands both sides of those wrists, or not wrists, ribs, rolling up to find your little baby cobra before rocking up and back into your child's pose. Beautiful. When you're ready, you're going to roll yourself up, coming through to find your downward facing dog. So tucking the toes under, bringing the hips up and back. It's our first one of the session, so perhaps bending and straightening the legs to walk the dog. Starting to stretch out. You're going to raise the ground into the right foot, raise the left foot up behind you, and then exhale to bring it in between your chest. So coming into that crunch that we did in our bird's dog pose previously. Inhale to bring it back, exhale to crunch it through. Inhale back. Exhale to crunch it through. And then perhaps rocking the weight forward just to find a plank pose once more. Checking in, are you in that really nice straight line? Pressing those hands away, a little micro bend. And then when you're ready, either lowering the knees down or coming straight from the top, keeping the elbows tucked in. You're going to lower yourself down and then come up to a little baby cobra before pushing yourself back into your child's pose. Beautiful. Rolling yourself up once more, coming through to find your downward facing dog. You're going to raise the right foot back this time, grounding into the left foot. Stretching those right toes and heel towards the back of the room. And exhale to crunch that left knee, that right knee into the chest. Inhale to bring it back. Exhale through. Inhale back. Exhale through. Inhale back. Exhale. And then perhaps rocking the weight forward just to find a plank pose once more. Checking in, are you in that really nice straight line? Pressing those hands away, a little micro bend. And then when you're ready, either lowering the knees down or coming straight from the top, keeping the elbows tucked in. You're going to lower yourself down and then come up to a little baby cobra before pushing yourself back into your child's pose. We've got one more core exercise just before we come into a couple of twists. So I'm going to come into boat pose. So you've got a couple of options. So either you can keep your feet on the ground, probably with your heels up, and you're looking to keep your torso nice and straight, engaging your abdominals, and trying to find where you can feel the core really switching on. So that's option one, is to stay here. You can keep the hands out in front, or you might want to just keep them resting on the floor below. Option number two is to start bringing the feet up, keep them bent. Again, hands can go on the floor to support, or perhaps out in front. And option three is to straighten off those legs, which for me is not working so much this morning. I'm going to come down to the bent version. Really trying to look over the toes. And then if you feel anything going on, just bringing the heels back down. You always give a little bit of extra support. When you're ready, exhale, release. Coming back down to the earth. You're going to bring the knees into your chest, hugging yourself into a little ball. Option to keep the feet on the floor, or you can come into a little kind of, I think, an egg pose where you're on your bum, kind of balancing, bringing the knees towards your chest. Bringing that attention inwards. And then releasing those legs back down if they're up. Going to come to either a cross-legged or another comfortable position. Inhaling the arms up. Exhale to twist over the front leg. We'll stay here for a couple of breaths. Using your inhale to grow a little bit taller. Your exhale, see if you can twist a little bit further with your middle back. Using your back hand as a bit of a kickstand to keep you nice and upright. On your next inhale, we'll unfurl and come back to center. Exhale and twist across to the opposite side. Again, finding that position that feels good for you. Inhale to grow a little bit taller. Exhale to twist a little bit from the center. That's bringing that awareness back to your belly once more. Inhale to grow taller and come back to center. Exhale to release.
Thanks, and I look forward to seeing you on the mat very soon, I hope.